that you have chosen that path, we will not support you any longer. You will need to move out and find wherever you can to live and do what you want to, because I will not let people believe that I condone what you do.
10% of all current 55% of closeted men and women will never come out of the closet. And of that remaining 45% of people that do come out, 30% of those will be verbally or physically abused or victims of abuse or bullying because they're coming out.
This LGBT people still suffer with higher levels of depression, anxiety, addictions and suicide.
Sasha has every reason to be scared. Attacks like this one are becoming more common. The attackers are a group of extremist vigilantes who prey on suspected gays, beat them up and accuse them of being pedophiles. The police tends to look the other way.
This video is for all of you, but if you're coming out of the closet, planning coming out of the closet, you recently have tried to come out of the closet, or you don't know if you're ready to, let this video be for you so I can shed some experience and some advice for someone who personally went through a really tough time telling my parents that I was gay. Now, if you've seen the last video that I uploaded, I kind of talked about briefly my experience on coming out, and I left out a lot of details. I didn't feel the need to include everything, but I wanted to give everybody an example of my story. And I feel like for a lot of people, it stops there. You know, they tell their story and you can take some advice from that, but you can't fully understand how it could be unless I share more experience on what I went through and what might happen if you do come out. Now, for those that know 100% that everything's gonna be fine and that they're gonna be accepted and they're in a very loving and supporting group of friends or family, amazing. And my heart goes out to you because that's awesome that you have that kind of support system around you. And if that does apply to you and you are 100% in a safe environment and you 100% trust your friends and family, whether you're religious, from another culture or nationality or whatever it is, then this video is not really for you. Let this video be for everyone who has that doubt in their mind or that fear on what could happen if they come out, or what could happen if maybe you are out, but maybe you're living with your parents and they don't know, or maybe you don't live with your parents or your family, or even your best friend, or even if you're bi and you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend and it's eating you up inside. This video is for people like you. So I'm going to be talking about what I have for advice on what I've learned now after 3 years on coming out and reflecting on everything that's happened. I want to start off by saying, however, that if you're not ready, do not feel pressured. Okay? This is for people who want to come out, people that know that they're being ate up inside and they need to tell somebody. They need to tell somebody who they truly are because they can't take it any longer. I came out because I was pressured. And people around me that did know about me online told me that it was the right thing to do and I wasn't ready. And I don't regret doing it because I've learned so much, but I feel like in my situation, let me reflect to you a little bit on what could happen and how I could help. Now, this is again from my point of view. So these key points I'm going through are in no particular order. I want to start off by saying one thing, because to me, I hold this very close. You don't need to abandon your religion. Now, religion is like politics and you don't really want to talk about it. It's not something you talk about on a first date. It's not something you can talk about with your friends because it's touchy. It is. And there's a lot of room for argument when it comes to religion. However, if you are religious, then this section applies to you. I grew up Pentecostal, very strict, always going to church, speaking in tongues, going to church twice on Sundays. I grew up in a very religious household. And of course, when I came out, I had doubts and I didn't know what I was. Was I wrong? Am I a sin? Do I belong on earth? Is this a mistake? Who am I? Why did God make me like this? 3 years ago I came out and I was religious. And 3 years later, I'm still religious. Now, what type of religious am I? I don't know. I grew up Pentecostal and I've fluctuated between that and Baptist and Christian, but it's all primarily in the same little bubble. Now, I want to say that you don't need to feel like you need to abandon your religion, because let me tell you something. Religion, or the thought of knowing that something could be out there, is what helped me get through all of this. Now, I want to say that everything does happen for a reason, and it all intertwines with the next event and the next chapter of your life. And I feel like the thought of me thinking that religion is real is what's helped me get through everything. You have to have a positive mindset before even thinking about coming out, because yes, it's scary, and yes, it could be hard, and you could probably go through hell coming out if you're in a religious family, and that's just bottom line. I am thankful for everything I have now, and I'm very blessed and I'm very happy. And you know what? I thank God every day for what's happened with me coming out. Now, is that real? Does religion exist? Is it, which religion is correct? Which one's right? Which one do I follow? Do I follow religion? Is this all based off science? You know, you can think about it anyway, but whatever it is that you are, hold on to it, because we don't know what's real until the day that we die. And until that happens, you gotta use what you can and take advantage of it if it's gonna keep you going, okay? If that religion, or if that belief of yours, or if that spirituality of yours is connected to something, and that something is the finish line, then you keep that in your eyesight, because that's what's going to get you through these next couple weeks and months of you coming out. Now, I'm simply making this video based off my experience, so let this be for those who want to prepare for the worst. You obviously don't want to assume that, and you want to assume that everything's going to be fine, but I obviously was wrong, and I thought everything would be fine, and it wasn't. One of the first things that I want to talk about is if you feel safe. Are you living with your parents or family? Are you living in a household that is a safe environment? Somewhere that if you do come out and it does go south, do you feel safe where you live? Or maybe you're living in a place where you don't have full control over what you can do, and you don't have free will over everything. First, bottom line, get a friend that you can trust. Now, trust is very dangerous, and if you give it to the wrong person, they can crush you with it. If you have a friend, or if you have anybody online, have somebody you can trust, somebody you can fall back on and go to, and know that they got your back if things do go south. Now, if you don't have anybody that you can trust, or anybody that you can fall back to, and you really just feel alone, and you feel like it's just you out there, and it's just you that has this battle, you gotta stay positive. You gotta keep your chin up, be strong, think about the things that matter. Now, let's say that you're living in a place that you're not in free will. Like, for example, you're with your family. Maybe you're not quite 18 yet, or maybe you're over 18, but you're still living with your family, and you haven't quite found your footing yet, and maybe they still have things in control. Car, phone, credit card, bank accounts, something as simple as, do they have your birth certificate and your social security card? Those may sound simple, but it's very important, and it's a very important thing to think about. When I came out, my mother took everything from me. Even things like my license, my birth certificate, my social security card, my car was taken, my phone line was cut off, I didn't have any money. I didn't think about things like that, but I'm telling you it's important that you do so. Because if you're living somewhere that they have control about disowning you, that is what will make it tough. And if it happens, then you're going to get through it, and that obstacle that you are in right now, you will overcome it, okay? There is a finish line, there is a silver lining, I promise you. No matter how bad it could be, I promise you it will be fine. I went through a horrific situation, and I left out many details in my last video, but I'm telling you, that it will be fine. Now, let's assume that you're with your family and they do have things that they could take against you. You got to think about it this way. This is your life. You have one life as far as we know. And yes, it's going to be difficult, but you got to do what's going to make you happy. The second that I told my mother that I was gay, I immediately felt a ton of weight just fall off my shoulders. Yes, I was scared and I was trembling, and I saw my world just crash in front of my eyes, which it did the following 24 hours, but I felt so good. I felt amazing. I felt like me, like I am who I actually am, and I'm finally out. And the fact of knowing that I'm finally being true to myself, everything went south. They took everything from me. But you know what? That's called life. And your life is what is going to get you to when you're at the point where you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. You're going to reflect on this, and you're going to reflect on your childhood and things that you did. And you're going to be so proud of yourself for having the courage and bravery on doing this. Now, it's going to be tough, and they might take everything from you, and you might be left on the street. You gotta find your footing. I had nowhere to go. I left the state to start over. I left the state with somebody that I didn't talk to. The day that they dropped me off, 2 days later, I never saw or spoke to them again. They were in my life for a reason, to bring me to Florida. Things will work out the way they are supposed to. Everything happens for a reason. If you come out and everything's all fine, butterflies, rainbows, awesome. I'm so happy for you. If you come out and there's a lot of tension, don't let them take advantage of you or your feelings. If you feel like you're being held hostage, the place that you live in, or even if you don't live with your parents and you feel like they're being negative to you, sending you messages and texts and threatening you about you going to hell, dying from AIDS, dumb shit like that, block that out of your life. My mother and my father, after 3 years, messaged me 3 days ago to say that they don't accept me and that I am wrong. And that hurt. That hurt so much because it's been 3 years. I've worked so hard to be where I am. And I've went through so many tears and so many nights crying myself to sleep and so many heartbreaks and so many times where I was alone. I had to figure out how to do my own taxes. I had to figure out how to get a social security card, how to make a birth certificate. How do I pass this interview? How do I go get a car and not let the salesman talk me to a bad deal? Because that's what a father's for. How do I do things on my own? I'm 18. I wasn't prepared for something like this. It was tough, and it took me years and months to get through everything, but now it's so worth what happened. And I want you to know that you're not alone. There's so many people like you in your situation. There's so many people that have it worse than me, that have it worse than you might be having it. And if you feel like there's nowhere to go, never think about hurting yourself. Don't do that. Hurting yourself creates more pain. You might think that it's a good way out, but it's not. You know, regardless of what exists out there when we die, whether it's religion, whether there's nothing, whether we're in some fucking simulation, whatever the fuck we're in, this is a life though. You have a soul. You are on earth for a reason, I like to believe. We all have a purpose. The earth has a purpose. You know, us as a population of people have a purpose, a greater purpose. But you also have an individual purpose. You do serve a purpose here on earth, and you do serve something that you're supposed to do. Whether you're just on earth to be a light to people, whether you're just on earth to work hard and get through some tough shit, go through a fucking shit show of a life, but you're gonna turn 80, 90, 100 years old, and you're gonna be like, you know what? I fucking lived fucking badass life. I went through this, X, Y, Z. He tried to hurt me, she tried to hurt me. They tried to fuck me over, but you know what? I came out on top, and I'm strong, and I'm fucking 100 years old, and I fucking am happy. And I lived a fucking life, a meaningful life. And you know what? When something does happen to you, and you know that you worked hard and you only meant good to everybody, you're gonna get far in where you are. And whatever happens out there when we die, you're gonna get far there too. Keep a positive mindset on everything. Don't let nobody tell you what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, especially when it comes to your feelings. Me coming out, when I came out as gay, and after everything happened, and after I finally found my footing somewhere, guys really tried to tell me what's right and what's wrong, and I felt like a lot of people told me that you're gay and you belong in this community and in this scene. I'm not in the scene, and I've never been to a pride. I've never done things like that. But I knew that I didn't have to. And if you're scared that being gay or being lesbian puts you in a category, it doesn't. It just simply means who you're attracted to. Who do you want to fall in love with and have a family? Who do you want to wake up to in the morning and look them in the eyes and be like, wow, I really love them. I'm still searching for that. I'm still searching for that person that I can really look into their eyes and say, fuck, like, I fucking love this person. I fucking love this man. I'm still searching too. But being a part of the LGBT plus community doesn't put you anywhere. You don't have to do anything if you don't want to. I am where I am because that's where I want to be. But I will say that when you do come out, you will know where you belong. It might not be right away, but you'll find your footing at some point. And you're going to be so happy. It might be hard, and you might go through heartbreaks and tears, but it's going to be so relieving to you. When I did come out, I felt so loved and welcomed. People I've never known, people I've never talked to, loved me instantly. They sheltered me, they helped me. Yes, I was lucky with that, and I know that doesn't happen to everybody, and if I was blessed with one positive outlook on when I did come out, it was that. I had a lot of outreach. I had people help me. I had people give me a place to stay and not have to pay rent, use their car when I didn't have a license. People helped me so much, and I want to help back in some way. Now, a lot of you had DM'd me and asked, how do I come out? What do I say? My parents are religious, they're gonna do things to me. I don't know what's gonna happen, I'm scared. Or you might not come out because you're fear of your job being put on the line. Or maybe you're in a relationship and you love them and you wanna be with them, but you feel an attraction to the other gender as well. And you want to get that out of the way, but you're scared that you're gonna lose the person you love because of that. I personally know a friend that's happened to. Or maybe you just wanna come out, or maybe you don't. But only do it when you're ready. Only do it when you feel safe. If you're not safe, please don't do it until you know that you got a place to stay. Whether you gotta do it over the phone, whether you gotta send a letter, send a message, send an email. But once you do, there's no turning back. That's the beginning of your actual self. Your actual life starts when you fully will accept who you are. We're not a sin. We're not a disease. We're not a plague. We're people. We have souls. We have hearts. We fall in love. Shit, animals fucking fall in love with each other. Like, it's 2019. Why the fuck are we still being bashed on being gay? Gay people always existed. Look in fucking biblical times, and if you're not religious, it fucking existed everywhere. In the fucking Aztec civilization, it fucking existed. There's proof everywhere. It was not accepted back then. But we're in a society where it is accepted, and not as much as we'd like to, but we have a home now, and that's our community. Online is where I found home. YouTube, social media, talking to other people and their experiences. That was my home. That's what fueled me on staying strong. And I strongly encourage you to find a home, whether it be a virtual home, whether it be a second home, whether it be plan B, and you gotta take a hike out of the place that you're living in because you think that they're gonna hurt you. Do what you gotta do. Be wise and know and be realistic on what could happen. Now, somebody accepting you, that's not your problem. It shouldn't affect whether they allow you to be gay or not. Shit, it doesn't fucking matter if they accept you or not. I've learned if they don't accept me, if somebody don't like me, they can get the fuck out. Like, I am who I am, and I'm real, and I always am honest, and I always give my opinion. Honestly, I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. If somebody don't accept you, fuck them. I had best friends calling me after I came out. Some of them wouldn't even call me until 2 or 3 years later. And you know what they said when they called me? Sasha, I don't accept you. I wanted to remind you that. They get off on our sadness. They get off on our heartbreak. They think they're in control and power. Yet they're the ones keeping up with your life, looking at your fucking story, keeping up with you on social media, talking about you to their friends. Oh my God, he's gay. Oh my God, she's lesbian. Like, what? Fuck them. It's about you and what makes you happy. It doesn't matter what the fuck anybody thinks. It's your fucking life. You do what makes you happy. And if it makes you happy to not come out of the closet, then awesome. You know, kudos to you. But for those of you that do want to come out and know that it is who you are, don't be scared on the thought that you're going to end up in a ditch somewhere. Or don't be scared that you ain't got nobody. If you really do have nobody to go to, then you got social media, you got YouTube, you got me, and you got the entire LGBT plus community. We got your back. Something goes south, you reach out. Reach out to somebody or anything. But you reach out because we got you. And there's a love and a language that we all share when you're in the LGBT community. We don't know you and we might never meet you. I still talk to people online that messaged me 3 years ago when I came out. I've still never met them. And I talk to them on a daily basis. And if you're watching, you know who you are. People like that and people like you are what kept me going. Things will fall into place. I promise you. It might take time. It might be instant. It might take years. Everything happens the way it's supposed to. It will lead to the greater good of something. You might not see any good for a long time. You might be saying, fuck Sasha, I came out years ago and I'm still fucking battling. Like, how do I fix it? It's not your job to fix other people's feelings for you. It's your job to be happy and to be in the right mindset. Fuck everyone if they don't accept you. If you reach out to your parents like I tried to and say, hey, or send them money or send them gifts and try to make them forget that you're gay, it doesn't work. I tried that. Leave them alone. Let them come to you. Yes, you only got one family. You only got one mom. You only got one dad, one brother, one sister, one uncle, one aunt, one grandma, one grandpa. But you are not in charge of whether or not they accept you. They don't give permission for you to be gay. You are how you've been. And if they don't take you for who you are, then you get out. Or tell them to get out. Or cut that tie, because it's going to drag you down and it's going to drag you in a rabbit hole of crying and tears and regret. And I should have never told anybody. I should have not said anything. I could have lived my whole life being bi without saying anything. But it's going to eat you up if you don't. And the longer you wait, the harder it could be. Now, if you're in a place where you're young and you have absolutely no control over everything and you aren't a religious family, you gotta wait. You gotta wait till you got some control. Unless you know that somebody got your back no matter what. I want you guys to know one thing. In the end, it will work out. It's gonna be tough. You might go through hell. You might not. Hopefully you don't. But if you do, somebody got your back. I got your back. Okay? Know that I went through shit. And I cried myself like a wuss, as some people would say. Days and weeks and nights, and worked 3 jobs at once and got cars repossessed, loans taken out, my credit score going to shit. I went through some tough crap, being on the street for some time, sleeping in my car for weeks, not having food to only eat ramen noodles all week, had to ask some of my best friends for $5 of gas for them to say no. I don't have any cash. Sorry, I'm in the negative. And if they are, it's fine. You're going through a fucking hard time, so you can't blame them, they can't blame you. But it's gonna get better. It will, I promise you it will. Work hard, stay positive, keep a positive outlook on everything. Find something to believe in, find some kind of goal, something to hold on to keep you going. You need that fuel. You can't drive a car without fuel. You're the car. Fuel can be anything. It can be a religion, a belief, a goal, a person, a feeling, a vision of where you want to be in 10 years. Get that fuel, fill up your fucking tank, and go. And drive, and don't look back. Don't ever look back at where you were. That's in the past. You focus on the future. Thank you everyone for watching. I really hope that this created some kind of insight on a little bit more of my personality and a little bit of what I went through, and I really do hope that you can take a little bit from this and mold it into whatever your story will be. And whenever it's time for you to tell your story, I hope that I could have contributed in some way to what's been in the works for you or what happened in your book or in your chapter. But I want to thank you guys for watching. And I want to say that it does get better. No matter how many times I'm repeating it, I know that's cliche to say, but it does. And if you feel like you got nowhere to go, and if you feel like you're out of options, and if you're heartbroken, and you don't know what to do, and you're being ate up inside from the fact of knowing that you're gonna be rejected by people that you love and care about, and people you've shared memories with, reach out online, call somebody, talk to somebody, anybody, get on YouTube, get in the comment section, get on social media, do something, focus on something else except the negativity. But thank you for watching. If you're part of the LGBT community and you're going through a hard time, and even if you're not, I want to say that I love you. I love you for who you are. We share a same language, a mutual connection. Keep your head up, keep your chin up. Don't let nobody tell you that you got to do something unless you feel 100% comfortable. Take this video as advice. And thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.